Hello, my name's Anthony and welcome to my new channel, The Vaper Alchemist. And this channel is about e-cigarettes and vaporizing. This is kind of a video for noobs or people who want to get one of these things or not sure what to get or tried one and it sucked because they bought it at 7-Eleven for $10 and it wore out and threw it away and there's three main components to these things that you gotta consider. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Anyways, a lot of times you can find starter kits. That's what I started out with. That has everything in one convenient bundle at one price. They've improved. I've seen better ones. And the one I bought, the starter kit I bought, it worked, but I got tired of it really fast. It just seemed like it started to wear out, not working so good. And when I tried better ones, it's like, wow, it's a huge difference. So, I mean, instead of buying a lot of crappy ones, it's better to spend a little bit more to get something worthwhile. You don't have to spend hundreds. Spend about as much as you're going to spend on a carton of cigarettes. It's probably equivalent to get started on something decent. So first, let's look at the main components. We're going to have a battery. And the battery, the main things about them is the size in mAh. So it could be like 800 mAh or 1100 or whatever. The higher the mAh, the longer battery life you're going to have. They have very small ones like this that they don't last very long. If you're using it a lot, it's not probably going to get you through a whole day. Maybe. I don't know. Then the bigger ones, I think this is 1100, that last at least a day for me. If you get two of them, it's convenient. Most of the batteries, to charge it, they'll come with some sort of charger like this, where one end's threaded. I don't know if you can see that. And the top of the battery is threaded. You screw it in here. And it's USB. I can plug it into my computer, or you can get a wall adapter and plug it into the power outlet. The problem with that is you can't use it while it's being charged. So that kind of sucks if you only have one and you're trying, especially if you're trying to quit smoking cigarettes, because if you can't use it for a while, you're probably going to pick up a cigarette. Next thing about batteries is there's just standard ones where you just push a button, it'll light up, usually when you're using it, and hold it while you're using it, and that's all it does. There's other ones that we have, such as variable voltage. We can change the voltage so it changes how hot it burns the vapor at. It makes a big difference in the taste and the effect. It feels more like smoke. You get what they call the throat hit. That's like the feeling of the smoke hitting your mouth. Variable voltage I totally recommend over just the standard batteries. There's also variable wattage. That I guess makes a difference as well. I've not tried those out yet. I'm getting ready to order one tonight. One thing I really like in my batteries, they don't seem to make them that often though, is what's called USB pass-through. And that's what this one is. It's I can plug it into the bottom with a USB cable and charge it and use it as I charge it. Or just keep it plugged in while I'm using it so I don't kill the battery. And there we go. Also, I can of course unplug it and take it with me and use it. But the USB pass-through is very convenient. I can charge it in my car, my stereo when I'm driving, or with a cigarette lighter charger, whatever. Variable voltage, though, that makes a big difference on how the thing works. It works much more effectively. So that's the battery side of things. Then we have what we call the tank. That's this top part here. When I first started out, like I said, I ordered these starter kits, and it came with two batteries. This size is the same one actually, called Ego T. I think it's like 600 mAh or something like that. And it came with what's called a Cartomizer. That's this thing. It's basically this metal casing here, holds it like a heating element. In this top clear plastic part, you fill it with the fluid, put it together, and these things pretty much suck. They worked okay for a few weeks. It was the first time using them. I was like, okay, it's cool. They wear out pretty quick. You got to replace the element. They don't hold very much fluid, and they don't produce very much vapor. This one's old. It's been used. I don't use it anymore. It's just sitting around. I don't even think there's fluid in it. Maybe a little bit. And it's also old, so it doesn't work nearly as good as when it was new, but still they don't work that great. I mean, a little bit of vapor comes out. Taste is just kind of, I can taste it, but the flavor's there, but it's nothing that great. I'd go crazy if I was stuck with this after getting used to better stuff. So that's what we call Cartomizers. I just pretty much Cartomizers suck. Fuck those things. Then they have tanks. Tanks like this one's a throwaway one actually. I can't remember what it's called, a C1 I think. And they're a little bit, I don't know, this was like $6 or $7. You use them for a while and then the element burns out and it starts to taste like shit. You throw it out. But they last a while. I mean, they're going to last, depends how much you use it again, but probably like 2-3 weeks easily before you start to notice it's just not working as good. And again, these aren't that bad at all for the price, but they do, once they're burnt out, they're trash. But you can see it makes a lot more vapor. Tastes better too. Then finally there's tanks like this. This is called a Nova tank. A lot of different brands make them. This one's by Totally Wicked. You can see the little devil on there. And these are nice because they unscrew at the bottom and at the top. So you unscrew it at the top to fill it with the fluid. And you can also replace the coil. You can buy the coils separately when they get burnt out or old. And when you replace it, it's like a new tank basically. And you can clean them really easily as well. So one of these nice big tanks, they hold more fluid. You don't have to keep filling it up all the time. Again, it's a better upgrade. And I think it's pretty easy to just see how much more vapor it produces. And that's with a really basic, shitty battery. The batteries work, they're boring after you get like a better battery. It doesn't have to be like a huge thing like this, but the variable voltage makes a difference. That's the thing, the coils you put on there, they go by ohm ratings. So at a higher ohm, you can turn it up to a higher voltage and you experiment with it. Like on this one, this battery, I can change the voltage and I can raise it according to the ohms. It's hard to figure it out. There's kind of some math process to it that I never fucking understood. But basically, you just keep turning it up until it starts to taste a little bit like burnt, and then you take it down and you'll find that nice threshold. And it kind of varies between the ohms of the coil in there, of the wick, and also the fluid you're using. It changes. So now with this good battery and this nice tank, more vapor, and the taste is better. And it's probably time for me to actually replace this coil. I use these things a lot, so I use them till I can notice it's getting boring. When I put a new one in, it's fun. It's like, wow, it works good again. So that's the best way to go. To look for a good battery that is variable voltage and a good tank. The Nova tanks are good. They're not that expensive, $10, $15 probably if you look around. And the replacement coils, you can buy them in like packs of 3 usually. I can't remember, $6, $7. Then finally you need the fluid, the e-nicotine. And they come in usually as little bottles like this. 10 milliliters is you can get bigger ones, whatever. But they'll come in any flavor you imagine. What do I have here? Double apple shisha. And also the milligrams of nicotine. So this is 14 milligrams. They rate them usually in high, medium, and low, and then there's some with no nicotine. I think if you're trying to quit smoking, at first try the high nicotine ones, and then what I did is I start with high and then lowered to medium. I'd get like a little bit of both, and then eventually go to low, and eventually go to zero. For me, I just kind of, it's almost a habit, like smoking cigarettes, but I enjoy the taste. It's an enjoyable thing to use a vaporizer for me. So even with no nicotine, I'd probably still use it. And I mean, that's what you really need to get started. So when you look on websites, there are the starter kits, but I don't know. I think it's probably, you might get a better price or just more what you're looking for by just searching for the individual components like that. everyone has their personal preferences over brands and that shit. And what the e-liquids especially, there's going to be different flavors, and there's some brands that are better. But that's really what you got to look for. And I mean, I don't remember how much I spent altogether on this, but this whole contraption here with one thing of e-liquid probably costs as much as a fucking carton of cigarettes costs in the U.S. nowadays. And lasts a lot longer, so it's definitely a cheaper alternative. Unless you get like totally gung-ho addicted to these things where you're just buying shit because it's cool, then you might spend a lot of money. But that's it. That's my first video, and I'm gonna be doing some more with reviews and different various shit. Thanks for watching.